for joining us on Let's Talk. Maravina, Diana, Kiki, and I, Belle, welcome you to sit down a bit and join in on the conversation. Maravina, you're going to kick off the conversation?
I sure am. I bet you're all wondering why we're wearing T-shirts. Perhaps you have seen, well, you've heard, I'm sure, of the Wise Latina comment. Yeah. The good news is that Sonia Sotomayor is officially the first Hispanic justice in the Supreme Court.
Let's hear it for Sonia. Yes, Latina woman.
That's right. And I want to read a direct quote from the Huffington Post. Not only is Ms. Sotomayor's confirmation an historical landmark, this lifetime appointment at the absolute highest levels of government is a profound event for the Latino community, which in turn is a vital electoral group now and in the future.
Finally, the Latino vote counts.
I mean,
it's being recognized.
Yes.
There you go.
That's what I should say. And you know, another thing, her quote made famous around the world, which I'll quote very briefly, I would hope that a wise Latina woman with the richness of her experiences would more often than not reach a better conclusion, ... has shocked a few, but has inspired so many.
It inspired me, and I agree with it 100%.
And you know who else it inspired? It inspired Nancy de los Santos, who's a producer and screenwriter, and her partner, Azucena Maldonado, to start this take that phrase and turn that, which people were turning into a negative, into a positive. How did they do that? Watch.
Azucena Maldonado and I are pretty much political junkies. When we first heard that there was a vacancy on the Supreme Court, she said, you know, he's going to nominate a Latino. And I said, get out of here. And then a week later, President Obama nominates a Latina. They're calling her a wise Latina. But when I focused, I realized that they were using those words in a very disparaging way. I want wise Latina to be in our vocabulary. And this is for our non-Latina friends who want to be supportive. The miga of a wise Latina. Wise Latina y qué? Wise plus Latina equal justice. My new favorite is the wise Latina y trainee. And some friends wearing a wise Latina lover shirt. And about 2 days later, we got a call from the New York Times. And that just blew me away. We also are donating a percentage of our profits to a young Latina student to help her with her college education. And if it gets bigger, you know, then I want to be able to give scholarships out. That's what it's all about. I would love to just invite my Latina sisters, my wise Latina sisters, to just get together in a salon-type arena and see where that leads us.
Thank you, Nancy and Azucena, for these beautiful T-shirts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We love being wise Latinas.
That's right. Sure do. Wise Latina. What
and there mine's all this and a wise Latina too.
Diana?
Mine's a little what's the word?
It's misleading.
Wealthy, misleading. Thank you. I am wise though. I consider, but healthy, meh.
And mine is, I'm a wise Latina y que.
Ooh, sabor. But you know, one thing I did want to mention, girls, I 100% support Ms. Sonia Sotomayor. And not only that, but I thought her quote was fabulous. And I agree. I think our experiences as Latina women and our age, but our cultural backgrounds definitely enrich and bring more to the table for us to make better decisions. Of course, heaven forbid that a Latina be nominated to the Supreme Court and all controversy doesn't break loose.
Well, you know.
What controversy? Wait a minute. She's leading up to the controversy.
Well, not only controversy, vicious attacks, outright vicious attacks, of course, mostly by Republicans. And the worst one of which I thought, oh,
and that's
my
your
goodness.
ex-party.
Yeah, no,
she used to be she is a recovery.
This one was unbelievable. Tom Tancredo, who is a former Colorado congressman, said, Ms. Sotomayor is a former member of La Raza, which is like a Hispanic Ku Klux Klan.
Oh my gosh.
Scaremongering.
It is.
Typical of the Republican Party.
Well, it's good that we will all be educated.
Because we're all members of La Raza and we hardly ever wear a sheet.
Well,
I got a member.
No, wait a minute. Okay, girls, settle down. This is a hot topic. And we're going to see in our next segment how hate speech can lead to hate crimes. Stay tuned.
No dogs, no Negroes, no Mexicans allowed. This is a duplicate. It's a replica of an actual sign from a restaurant in the 1950s.
Hate crimes against one ethnic group or another have been part of the fabric of this nation since its founding. Lately, Latinos are the target. With the economy in the tank, irresponsible talk show hosts have made Latinos the scapegoat for all of America's woes, much like in the 30s when the Latinos were also blamed and deported en masse. Will history repeat itself? Not if some Latino advocacy groups have anything to do with it. With us today is attorney Gladys Limon, staff attorney for the Mexican American Legal Defense and Educational Fund, also known as MALDEF. Thank you for being here, Gladys.
Welcome, Gladys.
We're glad to have you.
Gladys, you look so young, and you're already an attorney. You look like 20. You look
I
like
know.
you're early 20s.
Well, I'm coming here every Saturday morning. This is
Oh,
We'd love to have you and pick your brain.
So much. Thank you for being here. I want to know, what is MALDEF?
Sure, MALDEF is a national civil rights organization that for the past 40 years has defended and championed our democracy and civil rights, particularly for the Latino community.
Oh, great.
And we want to ask you, I mean, they say that on the violence continuum, everything starts with words, everything starts with speech. Could you define for us what hate speech is?
Sure, it's speech, acts, or behavior that manifests or evidences prejudice based on race, ethnicity, national origin, or sexual orientation that incites unlawful action or violence, or that promotes and creates this hateful environment and climate.
So you mean like the kind of speech that these so-called reporters, CNN reporters, these big fat liars like Rush Limbaugh, it's the truth. When I can call them big fat liars, and that would be politically incorrect, but they're on the airwaves spreading hate mongering against Latinos, and doesn't this incite hate crimes?
Yeah. Right, and no one, and why can they go on and say these things that some of them are not truths, and that does incite.
Right. And where's the accountability?
Where is the accountability?
That's correct. We have multiple media personalities like Lou Dobbs, Michael Savage, multiple.
O'Reilly.
Glenn Beck.
Correct.
Wow. Let's name them all.
You left on
We hate them all.
Coulter.
Oh, and
woman in all that group.
goodness.
La Amargada.
Yes. Well,
Immigrants are the scapegoats.
right, but who's keeping these people accountable
Does
for the
MALDEF
lies
help?
that they are
Well, we need to
saying?
hold them accountable.
Yes.
There is such a thing as free speech, but when there is speech that incites violence or
Right.
encourages a sort of environment, we need to hold them accountable. We need to hold the corporations accountable. We need to hold CNN, MSNBC, Clear Channel accountable, and also the corporations that advertise and essentially sponsor this speech.
Well, isn't that the FCC's job?
Well, there is actually a petition currently that the National Media Hispanic Coalition has submitted to the FCC to study the very effects of hate speech and the relationship between the hate speech that we're talking about right now and hate crimes and other unlawful acts.
How do we hold them accountable, though? You know, what are some things
Or what
that
can we do?
Well, we need to act. The best way to counter this hate speech and to eliminate it is to speak more, right?
Speak up, girls. Let's talk.
Let's talk
Otherwise,
about this.
history is going to repeat itself, and I have something to show you. All right. When I first saw this, I was a little bit shocked. I want you all to see this. No dogs, no Negroes, no Mexicans allowed. This is a duplicate. It's a replica of an actual sign from a restaurant in the 1950s in Texas.
Not so long ago.
And you know what's so sad? No, that we haven't come that far. You may not see these signs posted anymore, but I think the kind of hate that is being thrown out there and you know, disseminated through the airwaves by so-called acceptable, reputable news anchors is despicable.
And the hate that this perpetuates is the case of a very sad case of Luis Ramirez, which you are the head attorney on this case.
As a family.
Yes.
Right. And so what I'm saying is we need to speak out against all of these acts, including challenging violence when it happens by being in the courts, by policy. But in this case, Luis Ramirez, 25-year-old Mexican immigrant, was killed last year after he was beat up. He was assaulted and brutally beaten by a group of high school youths.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, when they initially encountered him, they yelled racial epithets. They continued to beat him. They knocked him to the ground, kicked him all over his body, stomped on his chest, and then literally kicked his brain in, and he died 2 days later. And in this case, the local politicians, the police chief, they came to the defense of these kids.
Well, you're talking about kids, and we have to end with something positive here. What is it that is going to happen when we keep teaching our kids to be disrespectful regarding race? What can we do? I mean, this is
nothing
education. No, I know, but I mean, it all starts at home. Bottom line, most of these cases have to do with youths getting out of control and following
parents
through.
who hate teaching their kids to
Teaching
hate.
their children, right.
Right.
So what can we do? We have to do something to change it. So
we all need to be responsible. It starts with educating our kids, schools, politicians. Our government needs to be held responsible as well. This affects everyone, not just immigrants, Latinos of every different background,
of course,
citizenship,
and not only Latinos. I mean, across the board, anyone who's different.
Right. I mean, it completely threatens our democracy.
Right.
Also, what are some of the victories that MALDEF has done in the court system, the judicial system?
Yeah, to fight this.
Sure. Well, we're seeing a lot of anti-immigrant ordinances that are being passed at a local and state level, and we've been in the courts. We've defeated many of them. We're currently challenging Sheriff Joe Arpaio, who in Maricopa County has an agreement with the Department of Homeland Security, in which his police officers or local officers are deputized to essentially enforce immigration law. And
that's not their job.
They are racially profiling in a very large way, in a very dangerous way. And so we have a lawsuit against him and the sheriff's office.
Well, thank goodness for MALDEF.
Right.
Thank goodness for the National Hispanic Media Coalition and also the National Council of La Raza, which all have links on their websites to some of these URLs and some of these websites so that we can talk about this and, do something. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tell all your people at MALDEF that we love them.
Yes.
Thank you so much for being here. And if you want to know more about what MALDEF is doing, go to maldef.org or nhmc.org. Please check out those websites. And now it's time for Chisme. And going to our resident chismosa, Ms. Diana.
I'm getting a bad reputation.
Oh, yes, you are. I know you have something.
All right, girls, I'm beginning to suspect that Salma Hayek is into facial hair. On her own face.
Why?
Well, because first she played Frida with the big unibrow and a little, bigotito.
Yeah.
Okay, so now she's playing a bearded lady. She looks bizarre. It's a vampire's assistant or something. Oh my goodness!
Madame Truba is her name, or something like that.
Madame
yes.
Truba? Oh, we better get some more information.
And she's got a beard.
Yes.
And she's got
a lot of facial. Which reminds me, why
Yeah.
do Mexican men grow mustaches?
I don't know.
Because they want to look like their mothers.
Okay. And I say it's time to toast.
Here we go.
To facial hair.
To facial hair.
And this is
No facial hair.
Okay, guys,
To pee.
This is. President Obama settled a dispute with beer.
That's
Yes.
right.
We're settling. Oh no, we're celebrating. We're celebrating no disputes with beer.
right.
So
Here's to peace.
Here's to peace. And with that, we're saying goodbye. Don't forget to come back because we have a lot of toast and a lot of chisme and a lot of great topics.
Let's talk.